What is going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So we got to talk about all the new statues that Flankster is going to be getting, where he's going to put them. So first, let's talk about Terminator. So I did pre-order the new T1000. I'm going to pre-order the new Arnold once that's up. Now, normally I would not buy that T1000 simply because I do think the new portrait is definitely better than this. Like, it's much better. The skin tone, the likeness, it is better. However, I do prefer the base on this, as well as the bolt holes and the pose. The new one is, this one also matches like these busts better. As you can see, it's like similar height. The new one is 37 inches tall. That's 30, so it's going to go boom. So it's going to be more of a Infinity Studios style, as big as a Hellboy. I mean, Hellboy's 39, but it is definitely bigger, which is both good and bad. Bad as in it doesn't match these busts nearly as much. Good, I like big busts. And I cannot lie. But I bought it purely because I'm getting Arnold. Arnold is a must-have for me for a few reasons. Now, one, it has better likeness than this. And this one is really good likeness. Like, I don't have a big problem with this one. But it's a little bit better. The silicone also seems to be of higher quality, better skin tone. It has more body, so you're seeing more battle damage, more of the jacket. It has actually two arms, like the battle damaged arm and then holding the grenade launcher, which I freaking love to death. And it is stage 4, where this is stage 5. If this was the stage 4 and the new one was stage 4, I would just sell both of these. But because this one's stage 5 and the new one's stage 4, I will not sell this pair. I simply cannot, because I need to have this version of Arnold in a bust form. This is my favorite overall version that really, like, you can really see the endo skull side. I really love that. But the new one is definitely the ultimate Arnold bust, no doubt. So we're going to get it. Now, they're definitely going to be wider than these two, taller. I would not be able to fit them both probably in this setup. I mean, maybe. But here's kind of what I was thinking last night as my cat woke me up at 2 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. We're going to need to remove Horror, put it over there. We're going to sell those two and that, and move Wolf over here. And then do the horse setup there. We are going to put Silent Hill right there with Pumpkinhead. Candyman with Hellraiser right there. Boom. So horse basically from here to there. We're going to move those two busts right there. Put this guy down there with T1000 Liquid Chrome by Darkside. And then right here, we're going to lower Endo and then get an Endo bust. Probably the Sideshow one or whichever. Because then this display will be bust, third, bust, bust, third, bust. It'll look magnificent. And I'm going to need that extra width up top to fit the newer Arnold bust and T1000. So I think that is the best way to go about it, is just doing it that method. Another alternative you could potentially consider is selling both these busts and just getting the clean Arnold, so you have a clean and battle damaged, and doing just the clean right there, and then they all match. That's not a bad idea either. The clean is hard to get, but if I sold both of these for, let's say, 4K each, that's 8K. I could find the new one for probably 6K. So I'd have a few thousand left over. However, I don't know if that new one would top both of these. Plus, like I said, I really love that, stage 5 version. The clean one's also very good. Plus, the base is freaking magnificent. But it is something to also consider, just so you have a little less repetitiveness. You just have one clean, one battle damage, they all match. I do like that idea as well. So I may consider, if I can find the clean one and find sellers for both these, I would potentially consider it. But that is kind of the idea with this. So let's go in here and talk about what we're going to do. So we have the new Darkside bust, which me getting that is dependent on a few things. And really, it's just the dimensions. So the idea, and I kind of photoshopped it, is put Steppenwolf where Flash is. Now, Flash kind of fills up that. Steppenwolf's a little bit bigger. I could bring it forward, but I'd like to ideally do Steppenwolf here and move Flash where Aquaman is. Or, I'm sorry, where really I'd do Flash, Cyborg, and put Shazam where Aquaman is, and we sell Aquaman. So, and then we also, of course, sell this one. So we would have to sell two pieces to get it. Now, height-wise is a concern, because it looked enormous. Like, wow, it's huge. So I have, this is 55 inches tall. I could gain maybe 1 more inch. So let's just say 56 inches top is the max I can do, and I can't lower that shelf. So it needs to be 56 inches tall. In terms of width, removing this and this, pushing this over, you basically have as much width as Thanos, like a 48-inch wide shelf, which I think is sufficient width-wise. His arm would obviously be coming out and probably forward right here. So I just have to be a little bit careful walking, similar to like Captain, his shield sticks out. Darkseid, his arm would stick out. So that is the biggest things is, would it fit on the shelf? And also, will it fit even in the basement? From what I can tell, the arms, the head come off. And so as long as the chest thickness is no thicker than Thanos, like 34 inches, we can definitely get that new Darkseid bust. And I would love to get it, simply because it would match my entire DC setup much better. I do love this bust a ton. It's phenomenal, but every other DC is full arms. Plus, I would like him bigger. I even boosted him to make him bigger. But I would love to get that Darkseid bust. So, as long as it fits, we will buy it. And that is it from this room, is simply just getting that Darkseid bust. All right, let's talk video games. So, we want to get Silent Hill, Doomslayer. I would love to get those. Potentially Elden Ring, but probably most likely not. We're going to eventually sell this and get the Queen Studios version. I think it scales better, looks better, better detail. It's not too expensive. I definitely prefer the Queen. It's more accurate. So we're definitely going to get the Queen to replace this. That's easy, and it will take up less space. I potentially want the Kratos on Throne Young version. What I was kind of thinking is removing this to The Witcher. I was actually thinking of putting a bunch of video game statues just upstairs. I was potentially thinking of just foregoing Pacific Rim busts. I can still keep the Pacific Rim statue. It's fine. I'll put it right at the door on a glass shelf. Still matches the theme and looks great. And then down low, I was going to do under Avatar. So Avatar is going to be the 2 quarter scales and the Infinity bust. Below, I was probably going to do Rotunda T-Rex with Raptor bust. And then everything below Monsterverse is going to be purely video game statues. So I was thinking of removing all this and putting it upstairs. And along upstairs, putting Doomslayer with his statue, like with these two on a shelf. You do young Kratos upstairs. Probably lower that Kratos here. Although, here's the thing with young Kratos. I was also thinking of doing Thor, old Kratos, like the tall one, and then young Kratos on throne. So the 2 Kratos together, but not the 2 thrones. I'd much prefer them being different. And then Thor right there. I think that would look magnificent. I think, yeah, that'd definitely be really freaking cool. And then probably put like Silent Hill right here. So that Kratos set up there, Silent Hill here, Doomslayer upstairs, as well as if I decided to get like Elden Ring. I also decided to purchase Mael from Bard Studios. I just simply loved Claire Obscure Expedition 33 so much. It's my game of the year. We'll see how good Ghost of Yotai is, but Claire Obscure right now is my game of the year. So it's like, if a game is my game of the year, I get a statue from it. Simple as that. I still want to get a statue of Final Fantasy 16 because that was also my game of the year. But we will see what happens there. I still really want to keep MK as is. I'm not looking to sell MK. Instead, I'm just going to be doing video game statues upstairs. So that's kind of the plan. So again, Final Fantasy 7, Resident Evil 4, and then Silent Hill, like all same theme of scary games, really. Kratos would go great right down there. And then you just put these, that takes up one shelf, that takes up the small shelf, that with Doom. We still have space for another shelf where you could do this with my new Kratos I'm getting today, Darkseid, and a shelf. That would definitely fit, and we're good. And then when you open this up, you could do young Kratos on throne, Kratos old, Thor, and so forth. So that works. Although, let me think if there's any other statues I'm missing. I think that's it. By the way, I finally paid for Sume Goku, so it's going to be shipping, which is awesome. I was also even considering putting Zelda upstairs. That's a potential possibility. In terms of this room, they did not show off any Lord of the Rings, which is pretty disappointing. We saw Saruman, which he looked freaking amazing. But there's nothing new in this room that would be changing. The only thing I would ever consider is potentially selling that Optimus and Megatron and doing the diorama by Waste Studios. Now, I do love that diorama. However, you're able to see these much better. The bases match. They have way more swap outs. I do love that diorama, no doubt. But I probably would not sell these to get that. Too much of a pain, hassle. I'd lose money. I really do love these. So as of right now, I think that's probably it of the statues I plan to pre-order and get. So basically, I mean, the big thing is we're going to have to sell some AVP to generate that Terminator space. And then video games will need to go upstairs, and we'll probably have to just forego Pacific Rim Bust. And initially I was planning on doing a Terry 1/3 by Infinity Studios. However, after comparing it to the Prime one, I much prefer the Prime one. Even though they're 1/4, not 1/3, the concepts are just infinitely better. And I think it just looked much cooler to have them with the bust instead of the 1/3 and bust with no Jake Sully. So yeah, that is basically kind of the plan as of now. Of course, things can always change. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.